Hello all, this is my quick short video for Azure Administrator Quick Tips. I would like to share my experience along with the preparation tips, exam format, and my quick notes that I prepared during this exam, which I believe would help you to prepare for Azure Administrator exam. Uh, this is my quick introduction. I am network engineer having 12 years of experience and recently been to the cloud, and I have been taking cloud certifications to enhance my multi-cloud skill. So about my preparation, and this is the same suggestions that I have for all of you, your virtual instructor. So there are a lot of videos available. You have to choose which instructor suits you best and go ahead with those videos to learn the concepts first, and then don't just watch the videos but lab it up as well. There are various labs available. You can use Citadel labs scenarios, which is available on the GitHub as well. So don't just watch videos, lab it up as well. And I found that Microsoft documentation is very useful for this. Everything has been given in a very good manner. In a reference guide perspective, you can utilize all this Microsoft FAQs as well, and also utilize the practice tests. Wherever you find practice tests, just ensure that you go through them and then understand what are the questions in the exam. About the virtual instructor options, I used these three virtual instructors: Nick Kohler, Scott Duffy, and Sharon Buffett. I found Scott Duffy was like the bestseller at Udemy, and then I started with Scott Duffy videos. Then I realized when I watched Nick Collier, I realized that a lot of details are given, and then I watched Nick Collier as well. But when I was about to say that I'm done with my preparation, I went through Sharon Bennett videos, exam tips on the Microsoft Azure Administrator AZ104 exam. It's available on the LinkedIn Learning platform. And I also attended one live online training by Ian Floats. He's the trainer at O'Reilly platform, and there was one session that I attended, and it was very useful. It was very quick interactive session to help me prepare for the exam. About the exam format, the duration for the exam is mentioned as 210 minutes, but you for the actual exam you get 210 minutes instead of 210 minutes. You get in the exam you get 180 minutes. Number of questions, there are 64 number of questions, which includes one case study. That case study will have 4 questions, so you have to first complete the case study, and you cannot go back, you cannot come back to the questions later. And there were no labs in the exam, just there was a case study, so that you have to ensure that you understand that. So these are my quick notes that I prepared, and I will just quickly go through it, and then probably you can also view on the videos. So AZ copy is the command line utility that you can use to copy blob or the file from your storage account. So just ensure that you are aware of this fact. And there is a command AZ copy make, and this command can be used only to create file shares. It cannot be used for blob. You just have to ensure that you understand that for blob, you can use Azure Active Directory or shared access signature, both kind of authentications to access the blob. But when you have to just access the file share, it only support shared access signature SAS. So you just make note of it, and you can use extensions to configure diagnostics in the VM. So if there are questions related to capturing VM specific metrics, then you should ensure that you are choosing the option of Azure diagnostic extension, and you can do this via labs as well. The VM availability options are only selectable when you create the machine, and it cannot be changed once post you have created the machine. So you either have to delete and then recreate if you want to change those options. The most important point about the recovery services, the recovery vault, is that the replication mode cannot be changed. So just ensure that you are aware of this fact, and then to create a vault to protect the virtual machines, you have to ensure that it is in the same region where the virtual machines are residing. This is very important fact, that it has to be in the same region. So to add network interface, VM must be stopped. You just have to utilize the labs as well to understand this fact that network interfaces cannot be added while the machine is running. You have to set the expiration policy. Then it is just Office 365 groups and that can have the expiration policy, but the security groups, the normal Azure Active Directory security groups, you cannot set expiration policy. And there is a lot of network tools are available. So connection monitor is available to monitor the connection at regular intervals, and you can test reachability, latency, network topology. All these you can test using connection monitor. There is another tool, IP Flow Verify. It has capability to specify the 5 tuples, which is source IP, destination IP, port, protocol, and all these parameters you can put, and then the traffic direction where you want to check inbound or outbound. And then IP Flow Verify will test the communication and informs you that connection is succeeding or failing. So this is what IP Flow Verify can also tell you, what NSGs or security rules were applied, and then which rule has denied this communication that you are testing. And you can use this IP Flow Verify tool to resolve the problems. The connection troubleshoot capability ensures that you can test the connection between a VM to another VM or another URL or IPv4 address. And there is NSG flow log capability that allows you to log the source and destination IP addresses, port, protocols. Whenever the traffic is allowed or denied by NSG, you can determine by NSG flow log as well. This is kind of log collecting service that is putting together the log wherever the just like a firewall log or something. And an import job allowed you to import the data into Azure Blob or the files, where export job, if you see the data that you have to export out of Azure, it only allows the data to be exported in the form of blobs, Azure blobs. So just make sure that file can just only be used for import, and if you have to export, it has to only be blobs. So there is another important topic about Kubernetes. And Kubernetes, you just remember 3-4 things, that like AZACR is a command to create the container registry. Docker push is to push the Docker image from your local administrative PC to the Azure. And to deploy your application, there is a command called kubectl apply. With this command, you can deploy your application. So just ensure that you are aware about these 3 facts, apart from whatever basic information you have from your virtual instructors during the videos. And just make sure that all the resources you are aware that VNet can communicate. All the resources in the VNet can communicate to internet by default. Private IP is source netted to a public IP, which is selected by Azure, and that's how the communication takes place. The outbound connectivity is restricted by the custom rules or NSG. You can choose inbound and outbound rules in the NSG to ensure what communication you require. The Azure DNS supports importing and exporting zones by using the Azure command line interface only. The zone file is importable only via CLI. It cannot be imported, or it does not support today the Azure PowerShell or Azure portal. So just ensure that you are aware of this fact. And the blobs cannot be backed up to the service force, because blobs already have their own backup policies, backup features. So blob, just ensure that the blob is not cannot be blocked back up to the Azure's vault. Load balancer, as you are aware, load balancer is a basic tier, is quite restrictive. Load balancer is restricted to a single availability set or a virtual machine set or a single virtual machine. Whereas the standard tier load balancer can span any virtual machines in a single network. Although the condition here also says that it has to be within a single virtual network. You can change the subnet a VM is connected to after it's created, but you cannot change the VNet. That's important fact that you have to understand. So if you have to create a VM machine, you have to delete the existing machine and then recreate in a new VNet. It cannot be changed. Fault domain is 2 or 3 in a particular region, it depending upon what is available in your region. So update domain can be maximum up to 20. So update domains, just ensure that you are aware of these two terminologies. Log analytics workspace can be created. It is independent of the location and subscription where your vault exists. So just ensure that you are aware of this fact. And notification limit, there will be 1 or 2 questions depending on how your exam is. So the rate limiting thresholds are not more than 1 SMS every 5 minutes. So this will approximately this will be 12 SMSs per hour. No more than 1 SMS every 5 minutes, no more than 1 voice call every 5 minutes, and email no more than 100 emails in an hour. This is the notification limit from the Azure. But the other actions, other API related calls, those actions are not rate limited. So just ensure you are aware of all these facts. These were my quick notes. Thank you for watching, and best of luck for your exam. Do go ahead with all of the preparations, go with all the videos, lab all the scenarios where you feel there is some competency that you have to practice, and don't just go with my tips only. Utilize my tips as a exam focused tips, but do ensure that you are going through all the virtual instructor materials that you have from Udemy or LinkedIn or Pluralsight, etc. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep sharing. Thank you so much.